Sometimes in football, a defeat is not just a scoreline. Sometimes a team can lose the biggest match of its life and still leave behind a question that refuses to disappear. And after the 2026 FIFA World Cup, Argentina was left with exactly that question. Did they simply lose a final, or did something much bigger happen to a team that had spent the entire tournament carrying the weight of a nation? Spain became world champions after defeating Argentina 1-0 in extra time. One goal, one moment, one final whistle. But behind that simple scoreline was a story filled with pressure, emotion, controversy, and a team determined to protect its identity. Because Argentina did not arrive at this World Cup as just another national team. They arrived as champions. They arrived carrying the memory of Qatar. They arrived carrying the legacy of Maradona. They arrived carrying the name of Lionel Messi. And most importantly, they arrived carrying the expectations of millions of people who believed Argentina could do it again. That is the problem with becoming a champion. The first victory makes you famous. The second one makes you a target. Everyone wants to defeat you. Everyone wants to see whether the champion is still the champion. And every mistake becomes bigger. Every bad moment becomes a headline. Every emotional reaction becomes part of the story. Argentina knew that before the tournament even began. But what happened next made their journey even more complicated. As the tournament moved into the knockout stages, Argentina continued to survive the pressure. One of the key moments came against Egypt. Argentina won 3-2 in a dramatic knockout match and kept their World Cup journey alive. For Argentina, that victory meant more than simply moving into the next round. It meant the pressure was getting heavier, because now there was nowhere to hide. Every match was elimination, every mistake could end the dream, and every victory created another question. Was Argentina becoming stronger, or were they simply surviving? Could this team really reach another final? Could they defend their crown, or would the pressure eventually break them? Nobody knew, but Argentina kept moving. And then came England, the semi-final, the kind of match that carries its own history before the players even walk onto the pitch. England wanted the final, Argentina wanted it more. The match ended 2-1 in Argentina's favor. Argentina had done it. They had reached the World Cup final once again. For a moment, everything looked perfect. The defending champions were back on the biggest stage. One more match, one more opponent, one more opportunity to make history. But then, the story changed. After the semi-final, several Argentina players were involved in displaying a banner reading "Las Malvinas son Argentinas." The message referred to the Falkland Islands, a long-running territorial dispute between Argentina and the United Kingdom. FIFA subsequently opened disciplinary proceedings over the incident, treating the display as a possible breach involving a political demonstration at a sporting event. And suddenly, Argentina's World Cup story was no longer only about football. It became political, it became emotional, it became controversial. And once again, the same question appeared. Where does national pride end, and where does a football tournament begin? For Argentina, the subject carries deep historical emotion. For FIFA, the issue is about the rules surrounding political demonstrations. And for fans around the world, the debate became impossible to ignore. Some saw it as national pride. Others saw it as something that had no place on a World Cup stage. But whatever side people took, one thing was obvious. Argentina had become one of the biggest stories of the tournament, and they hadn't even played the final yet. Then came the day Argentina had been waiting for. The final. Spain. One team stood between Argentina and another World Cup trophy. The stadium was full. The pressure was enormous. Millions were watching, and every player knew exactly what was at stake. For Spain, it was a chance to become world champions. For Argentina, it was a chance to prove that Qatar had not been a one-time achievement. This was not just another match. It was a battle between two football identities. Spain had their style. Argentina had their mentality. Spain wanted control. Argentina wanted emotion, and for 90 minutes, neither side could break the deadlock. The score remained 0-0. Then came extra time, and suddenly every second felt heavier. One mistake, one opening, one moment, that was all it could take. And in the 106th minute, Spain found it. Ferran Torres scored. Argentina were behind, 1-0. There was still time, but this time the comeback never came. The final whistle arrived. Spain were world champions. Argentina were runners-up, and the defending champions had failed to defend their crown. For Argentina, that moment was painful for another reason. They had come so close. They had crossed almost the entire mountain, but the final step had become the one they could not take. And that is why this defeat hurts differently. Losing in the early rounds means the dream ends suddenly. Losing in a final means you can almost touch the dream before it disappears. Argentina had 120 minutes to become champions. Instead, they left the field watching Spain celebrate. But the controversy was not over. Far from it. After the final, chaotic scenes on the pitch led to further FIFA disciplinary action. FIFA opened proceedings involving Argentina's Football Association and several players and officials. Leandro Paredes and Nahuel Molina faced allegations connected to incidents after the final, while assistant coach Abaya was also charged. Other alleged breaches involving unsporting behavior, discriminatory conduct, team misconduct, and crowd-related issues were also included in the wider disciplinary process. But there's an important distinction. These are allegations and disciplinary proceedings. They are not by themselves final verdicts. The people involved have the opportunity to respond and present their defense before FIFA's disciplinary process reaches its conclusions. And that is where the story becomes more complicated, because Argentina's passion has always been one of its greatest strengths, but passion can become dangerous when the pressure becomes uncontrollable. In football, emotion can create heroes. The same emotion can also create controversy, and perhaps that's exactly what happened to Argentina. But there's another side to this story, a side that gets forgotten when controversy takes over the headlines. Argentina still reached the final. They still defeated England in the semifinal. They still fought through the hardest stages of a World Cup, and they still reached the last match of the tournament. That matters, because teams don't reach a World Cup final by accident. There is quality, there is experience, there is mentality, and there is belief. Argentina may have lost the final, but they proved that they were capable of standing among the strongest teams in the world once again. And that creates another question. What happens now? What happens to a champion after losing the trophy? Some teams collapse, some teams rebuild, and some teams become even more dangerous. Argentina now has something that no trophy can give you: pain. The memory of standing 120 minutes away from another championship. The memory of watching somebody else lift the trophy. The memory of knowing that the opportunity was there and then watching it disappear. That kind of pain can destroy a team, or it can become fuel. And Argentina has always been a country where football is deeply connected to emotion, identity, and pride. So perhaps the next chapter will not be about revenge. Perhaps it will be about proving something. Proving that the Argentina shirt still carries the same power. Proving that their golden generation still has something left. Proving that one final defeat can't erase everything that came before it. To some fans, Argentina are fighters. To others, they are villains. Some see their passion as inspiring. Others believe that their emotions sometimes go too far. But there is one thing almost everyone can agree on. Argentina are never boring. When Argentina play, people watch. When Argentina win, people celebrate. When Argentina lose, people argue. And when Argentina become involved in controversy, the world starts talking. That's the power of this team. They don't simply play football, they create stories. And 2026 created one of their most complicated stories yet. A champion arrived. A champion reached the final. A champion came within one match of defending its title. And then Spain took the trophy. Argentina left without the cup, but they didn't leave without a story. They left with questions. Questions about pressure, questions about emotion, questions about discipline, questions about identity, and perhaps the biggest question of all, what comes next? Will Argentina use this defeat as fuel? Will this generation return stronger? Will the controversies surrounding the World Cup change anything? And when the next major tournament arrives, will Argentina still have the same hunger? Nobody can answer that yet, but that's exactly what makes the next chapter so interesting, because Argentina has already shown the world that they can survive pressure. They have shown that they can reach the final. They have shown that they can fight until the very end. Now they have to show something else. They have to show what they can become after losing everything they wanted.